Yes, welcome back to the SA Sports Show. Time to talk softball, Tim. And I mentioned off air just a second ago that we were about to talk to a man who has got the job in front of him. The man with a wheelbarrow. That's what we said after reading the highlights. But
well, it's a massive job.
It's a massive job. But welcome to the SA Stars' new coach, Morgan Young. Welcome to the SA Sports Show, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Lovely to have you in. Now, we said that because 62 years since we won a flag.
Fair drought.
It's a fair drought.
1956, yeah,
and
long
you've
time.
come in.
Amazing.
Yeah. You've come in as the coach. I said newly appointed, but it's not your first crack in softball. You've had a long history with the game.
I did as a young lad, yes. I got to represent my country, so that was a great privilege for me a long time ago in the inaugural under-19 team, and I sort of had a sabbatical for about 15 years as a young lad. Got away from the sport and concentrated on getting into football. And then had a beautiful daughter who picked up the sport, and somehow I managed to get my way back in there. So yeah, it's been great.
And you've just been appointed SA Stars now, S-T-A-R-Z.
That is correct.
Is what they're called. That's a new name. Is that new?
It's modern spelling.
Okay. Yeah. Is that a new name? Is it a new?
No, they've been the Stars for a while now. Yeah, okay, I'm not actually sure how long, but at least 6 or 7 years, I would say. Yeah.
Okay. And this is a big job, isn't it? I mean, you've got a big job right here and now because, although from what I hear, there's a bit of strength in the SA team at the present time.
Look, there is some really good strength in the SA team. We've got 5 Australian representatives right now, and hopefully with any sort of luck we might be able to grab a couple of young Australian juniors coming through to really push the top teams in the competition in the Nationals, being New South Wales and Queensland.
They're the big ones.
I was about to say, who does dominate this then? Because for 62 years it hasn't been South Australia. Who has it been?
Yeah, just like cricket at the top level, New South Wales and Queensland really do dominate the sport, and we've got our own little challenges there when it comes to population differences, but it's about bringing the quality that we do have and improving their developmental pathways to get a result.
In some other state competitions, if there's a dominant force like New South Wales, they sometimes say, okay, New South Wales country, New South Wales metro. Have they ever thought about doing something like that?
So at a junior level, certainly at the regionals, which is the under-15s, they do that. Right. New South Wales, funnily enough, have 3 teams in the under-15s at that level. Yeah. South Australia ourselves last year, we took away 2, which was a great thing for us, and we actually ended up finishing second in that regional competition, so we did quite well. Yeah. So they're the future stars, dare I say.
Yeah. And we go to Perth, is that where we're going?
Yeah, so we go to Mirrabooka for another year. We get 3 years over there in a row, so it's good to get comfortable with your environment. And
Sorry, say that again? You got to
move around?
Yeah, it does, but every 3 years.
Oh, every 3. So this is 3 years in a row in Perth?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, wow. Okay, do we get 3?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I really hope so.
Well, yeah. Where would we play? West Beach?
Yes, correct. Okay. Yeah. So we've got a really good setup now there, and in conjunction with the Adelaide Bite. Yeah. So that's really good for us and bringing more people to see our great game.
Is it well supported?
It is.
And the numbers at junior level, et cetera, would you say growing?
It's absolutely growing. Look, we had state trials on the weekend for our under-17s, and we had the biggest turnout we've ever had. So, and it wasn't just a free-for-all, it was really good quality. Yeah. And that's why SA has been, been a long process over the last few years in developing the Dragons program, which is a developmental pathway program for our young juniors to reach that Aussie level. Okay. Because they are competing with some big states.
Yeah. So what you've seen, you did a couple of years assistant, what you've seen so far, what is it they'll need to improve on to be able to challenge the better states?
Well, I think physically they are just as good as anyone. No, they really are. And, a lot of coaches, or the majority of coaches in any sport, work on mainly the physical, but they don't work on the mental. Yep. And for us to, I think, really come home with the trophy, it's actually a mental challenge. So understanding, self-talk. What are you saying to yourself, and in certain situations? I mean, there's that old saying when you step in the ring boxing that you're all alone. It doesn't matter what your support group is. Yeah. Well, when you're stepping in the box and someone's about to throw a ball at you at 100+ clicks an hour, you can have all the best friends in the world, but you're the one that's got to face that pitch. Yeah. So it's a big challenge mentally not to lose it.
Is the 60-year drought anything to do with this mentally? I mean, do these girls know of the history? I mean, do they know that we haven't won anything for a while?
They're very well aware of it. I don't think that's a driving force for them ultimately. There's a lot more things going on now than there ever were there before. I mean, there's opportunities to play in the Olympics in 2020, so that's a real good driving force for these young girls. And it's our job as coaches to get them there.
Yeah, yeah.
What sort of lifespan can you have in softball? Can you play well into your 30s?
Yeah, absolutely can. It's a bit like cricket when you can mature with age.
Yeah.
So, you know, one of the best batters in the world right now, Stacey Porter's an Australian third baser captain, and by far she's one of the best batters in the world. And I'm not quite not sure how old she is, but she's certainly on. She's 28, 29 now.
Oh,
and
good ages.
Yeah, she's in a good age, and you can, as you get older, there's no doubt that you can continue to play this game if you look after your body.
Now, you said earlier you spent a bit of time out of the game. You were involved in quite a few footy clubs. You chased a football dream. But that also would have given you a good little bridge to get to where you are now, back to softball.
Absolutely. Look, it was more of a coaching dream, really. I was riddled with injuries. I had a couple of ankle reconstructions and part of the joint removed, and Shane Grimm from the Port Power now rang me and said, look, mate, do you want to continue a coaching career? And it just, the time spent with him, the time spent with previous coaches and other mentors just helps you along the way.
Yeah.
So I've been very blessed in my coaching education from the people that I've met and the clubs that I've been able to be involved in.
Yeah. Do you need some sort of level to be appointed?
Yes, for sure.
You get
at least a level 4, I believe, is where you need to be at. And just like in AFL these days, you want to be a level 2 or at least a level 3 coach. So yeah, there's a lot of coaching education goes into it, especially at the higher level.
And amongst the squad that you'll go to, it'll be picked on form. I mean, the season will be starting soon, and you'll be looking for form. Is that what we're talking about?
I was certainly looking for form, looking for experience, also knowing these players now over the last 3 or 4 years and knowing what their strengths and weaknesses are. I want to be able to take a group over there that believes that they can win. Yeah. There's no point, my belief, being stronger than theirs. And it's for them to believe that they are just as good as the opposition, and they absolutely are. There's 16 girls in a squad. There's 9 going to be on a field. Well, they're taking on 9 other girls from a group of 16 themselves. Yep. So the old Lee Matthews, if they bleed, we can...
can beat them. Yeah, that's it.
And you've taken over from an old mentor as well, who would have mentored you in the softball game, in Kieran Johansson.
That's correct. I've had to... Well, I'm stepping into some very big shoes, and KJ, to his credit, he's probably the best coach in this country on a lot of levels, depending on who you speak to. But he was a breath of fresh air for me to get back into the sport 3 years ago, going away, and you sort of then you remember why you played at that level and the excitement of it and the adrenaline rush. And he's just a great coach who understands the mentality of people. He understands the game as an ex-world champion, 3 times world champion, and an ex-coach of the Australian team himself. So it was a valuable 3 years that I've had with him, and being able to keep in contact with him is very...
Is he still involved?
No, he's not. No, he lives in Victoria, so it's been one of those situations where we would really still love him coaching, but the girls really need a full-time coach now, someone who can be here hands-on all the time.
Absolutely.
So if he was happy to move over here, I'm sure we would have had him.
Yeah. Did you apply for this position, or were you approached by Softball SA?
Well, I was approached by Softball SA. I had applied for another position that I wanted to continue with the young girls that I was working with, but as circumstances came about, one door closed and another one opened for me, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to represent my state. So yes.
And how's the daughter's form? Where do you see her going?
Oh, look, she's like anybody else. It's not going to come down to her talent. It's going to come down to how hard she wants to work compared to everybody else. And she's got a bit of a hard taskmaster, but I try to separate myself from it. And she's told me there has to be a difference between being a father and a coach. And it's like, well, if you can show me where that is,
that's right.
I'm happy to have that.
Better get another mentor.
Exactly right.
Yeah, for sure. Mate, thanks for joining us. We're going to keep a close eye on it. We obviously will. We hope to get you back in after the championships in January.
That's right.
In January.
Second week of January,
Perth.
I think. Yeah.
And we look forward to seeing how the SA girls go, because we'd love to break that drought, wouldn't we?
Correct.
We'd love to smash the drought. So
well, that's what we're going over there to do.
Well, good on you, mate. And we appreciate you coming in to
Thank you very much.
We'll take a break, back with more shortly.